Welcome back. We got another episode of Strange Happenings. Bub,
It's happening.
what's happening?
It's happening.
Yeah?
Strange happenings.
All right. Well, tonight,
They're everywhere.
got another, a lot of different things we've come across this week we're going to cover. I think we've got some good ones again.
Yeah.
So
Every week it's kind of like there was a piñata full of strange stories.
We had a lot
and
of
we
things.
just slap it with this
have to
bat, and the
refine
next
it.
thing you know, there are these.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see this lineup, again, it's like my grandmother whips chains, whistles yo-yos. Like it's just it strings together. Like it doesn't seem real that all this news comes out in 1 week, but it happens.
Yep. And we've got one link, like 4 listeners, different people sent it to us.
Yeah, I saw it. We've had it sent to us. You saw
Yeah.
it. You've had it sent to you. I mean, everybody
Yep.
and their brother
Yep.
is sending it out, which we appreciate because that one helps us know that we're looking at what you're looking at, and if we're not, again, like it might put it in front of us to where
Yeah.
we become aware of it because again, there's so much happening in the week. You want to start with shout outs?
Yeah, sure. Shout outs.
Fire them up.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Facebook group, we have a bunch of, some people are coming on board with the Facebook group.
Well, when did we
We're-
start that? Just recently, right?
Well, yeah, I think it was last week.
so
we
we
launched it off.
Haven't had one, so
Yeah.
thanks for hopping in there if you are.
Sorry if we haven't shouted you out and you were an early Facebook group into the group
Subscriber,
early.
right.
We didn't get a chance to
Right.
shout you out. But
And it's tough because, say on YouTube, we might catch a name here and there, but like we don't really have like a list that gets categorized for us. They don't really give us a
Yeah.
full index. So every now and then we get a notification on our phone and we can look back in that backlog and find you. So if we don't shout you out, we're not doing it intentionally not to. It's just we're dealing with whatever we get back on that end. So let's fire them up. Do the Facebook shout outs.
Facebook group shout outs. Justin England.
What up, England?
Justin from
Mr.
Cryptids of the
E.
Corn jumping in.
He's a
hang
champion.
out.
Love that guy.
Matthew Foltz.
What up, brother?
Hey, what's up, brother? Thomas
brother.
Pinter. Thomas is from Biloxi, Mississippi.
Hell yeah.
So
Biloxi
Thomas,
Blues.
Yeah, he came across one of our videos and
Hell yeah.
And I guess I believe he said it was the Cryptids of the Corn episode
Oh, nice.
that he listened to.
Nice.
The Swapcast we did. So Thomas, welcome.
Yeah,
And
thanks for
Mike
jumping
Rep
in.
Hummel. I know he's been a commenter in YouTube and
In Facebook
and,
groups, yeah. Hell
so
yeah. Appreciate you.
so welcome
Yeah.
Facebook group people. YouTube subscribers, we've got. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We got Matthew
all.
Chandler. We have Luke and Jen. So no full name on those. So what's up, Luke and Jen, if you know who you are. Because Ashley Alexander, thank you for subscribing. Angie Mitchell, 312 Arts, and Josh Brown. That's our YouTube subscribers. So we've kind of hit a little bit of a plateau. We're not really picking up as many subscribers, which is fine. But we see a lot of you guys coming back in and jumping back in the chats and
Yep.
being on these episodes. So
Yep.
again, thanks for hopping in with us and hanging out for about an hour or so. And
Absolutely.
hopefully we have some good stuff for you guys again today. Oh yeah, I love this part. You ready?
Go ahead.
Top 10 countries. U.S. stayed at number 1. U.K. is still number 2. Australia number 3. Italy moved up from number 4.
That away, Italy.
To number. How can you move up from 4 to 4?
Well,
So you had to move up from
word
5
spreading.
to 4. So Virgin Islands moved down from 4 to 5. That's right. That's how it goes. They -1. But I switched those positions. Canada stayed where it was at number 6. Singapore at number 7 now is clocking in from 10. So Singapore is picking up the slack, baby.
Singapore.
Norway, you dropped off. You were at 7.
I want to hear from the folks in
I want to
Singapore.
go to Singapore. If you are, or if you live there, can we come visit? We'll hang out, show us some cool stuff, and we'll make a video out of it. Try to work that way in. Norway, you dropped. New Zealand, you stayed in the same. Portugal dropped. They were at 8. They're down to number 10.
All right, Portugal, you can do it.
Bring it back,
Share it
baby.
share
Come on.
away.
Come on. And then we have what?
We-
The top 10 states.
Yes, top 10 states. Here we go. My clicker. There we go.
You got Brohio,
Bro,
course.
what's up? Represent.
California, New York, North Carolina, and Texas. The first top 5 did not change at all. Florida jumped up from number 7 to 6. Minnesota jumped up from number 9 to number 7. Pennsylvania dropped all the way from number 5 to number
That's all right.
7.
I feel like Pennsylvania's going to have a strong
Number 8, sorry.
strong comeback next week.
Georgia dropped 1 to 8. Indiana is still towing the line at number 10. So thank you guys for listening everywhere.
Yes.
keep working at it. We'll try to get you in there. What was the other thing we were going to do? We were going to say, hey, if you could get somebody to follow us, subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or wherever, if you can like get a small video clip, like 5-10 seconds, hey, you got your friend to jump in and subscribe and kind of throw them into what we're doing here. We're always trying to help add voices and ears to things. So if you can do that and get a clip, we'll play them next time we do the Strange Happenings. We're just going to make a montage reel and let them go. So send them in, contact@thestrangeroad.com. I always like little shit like that, man. It's just fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would definitely do it. My coworkers would hate me. And that's all we got for the top 10 U.S. states.
Yes, thank you, everybody. It's been fun.
We got
so
next.
we want to hop into it?
You want to get at
Are
it?
we good? We're there?
You want to say what's up to the people in the chat quick? Just give a shout out there.
Yeah. Now we can see the chat. We have Stoner's dad.
What's up?
Hello, Neil. Welcome.
He's
Flux
a,
capacitor.
He's awesome. What's up,
Brad.
Matt?
Brian Walters. Necro.
Ancient Axe Factory sounds sweet. What's up, Necro?
Mechanimal. I always have a problem.
I know.
I don't know why. Necro. Mechanimal. Got it. Justin Lamb. I can't talk today.
That's all right.
And yeah,
Hitchhikers transform and roll out.
Welcome.
Autobots. Yeah. Taking Papers TV. Yo,
what's up, man? What's up?
Or lady, I'm not sure. You might be a lady or a man, I'm not sure. I can't really say. So we're just going to jump into it, and we're going to get started straight on down the path. And the first one we're hitting on is this story that I came across from Mysterious Universe, is the website, and the author is Brent Swanser. And basically the story is kind of what Mikey likes to say a lot, is dovetailing from the Paiute story about the Havmasovs that came from a few podcast episodes ago and YouTube episodes ago, where they talked about the flying canoes and kind of the lost technology.
Wow.
And so there is, there are, in the article they're talking about, there's a lot of mainstream lore, and I kind of alluded to it, there's a lot of Native American oral history tradition and lore. So this, this professor and researcher, Dr. Artie Six Killer Clark, she is a Cherokee Choctaw heritage, and she has been very active in working with the Native American community about, raising awareness of their history and their experiences. She said she's made mention of the spiritual connection these people give to the phenomena, and that UFOs and aliens are just as much a part of the spiritual realm as anything physical, and with some tribes even believing that their souls came from out in space. In an interview with Skeptico podcast, she mentions of this connection. So she talks about different tribes and their connection as far as how they relate to what we might call an extraterrestrial and ET encounter that they term as star people, right? And
Brothers.
We have a clip with Clifford Mahooty talking about the star people.
Yep.
And so that's what kind of caught my attention to this article. And she, goes on to write, much of what she calls the star people are ancient entities that came from the skies in their vessels to teach the native people, and which are present in the lore and legends of many tribes, with some old tales even claiming that they interbred with them. All right, so interbred with the star people, that's crazy. These are not necessarily described as aliens from another world exactly, but rather as spirit gods descending from another spiritual realm. She has covered this theory in her book, Encounters with Star People, Untold Stories of American Indians. And in some cases, it seems that there are, far from myth, as there have been tales of meeting these star people right up to the present. One such tale covered in her book that we're going to talk about is about a tribal elder known only as Harrison. He's a member of one of the Northern Plains tribes and has quite the bizarre story to tell. So in 1945, when Harrison, this now tribal elder, was a child, and well before the UFO craze had really taken off with Roswell.
Yeah, that's like 2 years before.
Right, so before it really spread like wildfire is when this account takes place. And he said he's 12 years old, and one evening he's at home with his grandfather when they hear a rumbling as the whole house is shaking, like there's an earthquake happening, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of gets you spooked. It'd get your hair standing up on the back of your head, and you'd be pretty alert. And this is the thing, in those moments you're going to be hyper aware, right? Like I remember almost burning my house down because that was a crazy moment, and I mean I can almost vividly recall it. So your sense is heightened in those. Yeah, I was getting ready to play some Halo. Not after that. Couldn't focus to play after that. But anyhow, so what I'm trying to lay out is, something loud enough that is causing almost an earthquake-like impact to your local vicinity, that's going to make you pretty aware when you go out to see it. So this happens. Grandfather goes out of the house and sees all of his horses had run off, right? So in a panic, he tries to gather as many as he can and then decides, the next day I'm going to go out and look for the rest of them. So next morning he gets up, he goes out and he looks for his remaining horses. And he comes back and looking, really distressed and afraid. And Harrison asked him, what happened? And the grandfather merely told the boy to follow him. There's no way to know what Harrison expected to see at this point, but there's a good chance he couldn't have imagined what was in store for him. As the story says, his grandfather took him some distance away where there's a large gouge or crater in the earth, as if something very big had come to smash into the field. At the bottom of this crater was a metallic craft of some kind, with what appeared to be a doorway hanging open and damaged on the side. The two of them stood there staring for some time before the grandfather decided to go look inside, where he apparently found several entities that were described as being 8 feet tall and wearing green suits with translucent skin and eyes that changed colors. Okay, let's pause there. That's pretty wild. Okay, all right, unpause. Story gets stranger. The strangers seemed to be just as surprised to see him, as in Harrison's grandfather,
Right.
as he was to see them, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm
okay,
sure.
it's like the shocking moment on each end. It said they even appeared to be slightly afraid of him and tried to distance themselves. The creatures seemed to shy away from him, and when he
Intimidating.
tried to speak with them,
Yeah.
just vanished into thin air. Hey, where you guys?
Transmedium beings.
Just gone.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It said since the grandfather and Harrison had no notion of aliens from outer space, they thought of them in terms they could understand, that these were the star people, quote unquote, that their ancestors had so often spoke of.
They're all over the cave art,
Right.
the petroglyphs.
Right.
You go deep into those canyons, man, and some of those petroglyphs get really wild. We've
Right.
seen a couple different places, and we talked about it on this show.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're seeing it.
So this goes further.
Coincides.
It still goes further.
Yeah.
So these things are seen for the next several weeks. They start to appear on the property. They'd always keep their distance, and they would always be able to appear and disappear at will. Like they're not
Yeah.
getting cornered, you're not catching them. It seemed like they were curious about Harrison and his grandfather, what they were doing. But again, they were obviously very wary at first. They never came too close, and it's kind of like just a rescue animal. It might be at a distance from you for months until it
Yeah.
comes up to you, right?
Right.
Or it might never. But the weird thing was, even though they were startled and scared and vanishing and all this stuff, they were also seen to sometimes gather rocks and plants and other things as if taking samples for study. Through all of this, the grandfather always heavily greeted his enigmatic visitors and even offered them food on some occasions. And as the days went by, they would approach closer and closer until one day they invited the grandfather onto their ship, which was still lodged into the
Wow.
earth at the bottom of the crater. Here's the finale. On the ship, the entities then communicated with him telepathically, telling them about their realm, which was described as dry and arid like the South Dakota Badlands. Been there, that is extremely arid and dry. The terrain so harsh that they were forced to live underground in domed cities.
Uh-oh. There we go.
Right. They also told him about their history and their way of life and explained that they had been visiting Earth for thousands of years, but had rarely ever actually interacted with humans as they were doing now. They rather merely observed and studied them. According to them, there were two other ships they had been with at the time of their unfortunate crash, and that they had been sent by a larger mothership, which they were making attempts to contact with their damaged communications equipment. The grandfather later told Harrison that he had seen much wondrous technology aboard the ship while he was there, such as screens that could show all manner of images and a special seat that covered whoever sat in it like an envelope. What?
I don't understand.
What? That's so weird. Oh, wow. Okay, let's finish this out and then we'll talk about it. According to Harrison, one night the mothership finally came, a massive cylindrical object that hovered for some time before shooting off into the night. The next morning, when they went to see the crater, the ship was gone, along with its strange occupants. Shortly after this, Harrison claimed that the U.S. military men had arrived and cordoned off the area. They would allegedly confiscate the grandfather's entire ranch and create a lake at the site where the ship had come down. The grandfather apparently never equated these creatures or the ships with aliens as we know them, as in being from another planet, but he was very sure they were not from around here, nevertheless. There is no way to know if any of this really happened or not, but it is certainly a curious UFO case and an account of possibly crashed aliens from another culture and mindset that we rarely get to see. Real or not, it is truly fascinating all the same.
Yeah. I mean, Clifford, God rest his soul,
Right.
passed away last summer. We were lucky enough to meet him and hang out with him, but that's kind of a lot of things he talks about. You know, the ant people coming from inside the earth to help bring people down during catastrophes.
Well, again, the Paiute
and this is
stuff
kind of
up
a
in the-
modern story that just so happens to coincide with like their oral traditions and all the cave art and
It's really recent.
and
1945 is
Yeah.
pretty well. Okay, the Paiute story we did came
That was
from
from, like, the-
1949, but the story wasn't from
earlier
1949.
1800s.
The story was heard in 1949 in that one. This is actually from 45. That's what we're saying.
45. Yeah,
Man, you polished
Account.
that thing right off.
I know. Well,
Jeeba.
it's good. Well, I haven't. I have. You've
Like
been.
Clark Griswold putting down the eggnog. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Well, you got me drinking.
It's good.
We got our little liquor cabinet back here that we started.
Yeah,
So we
I
thought
went.
we'd have a drink.
I went. What's that called?
Oh, by the way, Brian Walters.
A Freegan? Yeah. Well, we'll figure that one out.
Yeah,
we'll cross that
yeah.
bridge later.
Yeah, thanks for the whiskey,
Brian Walters.
Also, local legends Burton. Burton popped on earlier.
Burton. Sorry we
And
didn't get you there, dude. Sorry
he-
about that. You were in before we even started shouting people out.
and we shouted you out, and you definitely did not hear us because we weren't
No.
live yet. But
He said he's at
welcome,
work,
Burton.
brother. We hope we make your time at work a little bit more enjoyable and hopefully less sucky. I don't know if it sucks. Maybe you really enjoy your job. I'm just going to go out on the fence and say, like most work, it's not, you don't really want to be doing it.
Well, sometimes.
I don't know. I've just been there.
Yeah,
Now I love work now, but I didn't for a long time, so I know what
Yeah,
it's
the
like
nursing
to not like
days.
work. And I remember listening to podcasts being like, "Thank God I have DHC on a coast to coast AM at 3 a.m. in the morning doing a night shift." You
David
know?
Hatcher Childress.
Yeah. Oh, DHC. What do we got in the chat? Low batteries.
Born Not to Run says, "Why aren't there new UFO stuff? It seems like the 70s and 90s were hot. Now only the
Only government
has new videos. Well, they're trying to control what's going out in a lot of ways. They're getting ahead of
Fair
the
question.
disclosure because there's such like a push for people flipping out, wanting, because the internet's just a tidal wave of social media where people are questioning things and there's videos and so the government really is getting ahead. They're behind, but they're trying to get out ahead because they know they can't stop the flow of information forever. So they're kind of, and honestly, there's been quite a bit of new UFO stuff in terms of sightings.
She's saying like videos.
Right, videos and so
Or
forth. Well, we covered,
I don't know. I'm saying born not to run. I don't know.
but we covered the one from Las Vegas, from the nightclub, on the very
the one,
first Strange
yeah.
Happenings.
I get, but I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like,
But
it
I
used to
agree.
be there was like a new video, but it seems like
Right.
that well is kind of run dry, and
Now
now the
it's
spring is
Navy-
coming out of the government has all the videos. Like
Right,
it just
Navy
seems
fighter
very
pilots.
suspect.
Yeah,
Like it was an
I
independent
agree.
rock
Great-
band that
great
now the
question.
government owns as a rock band.
yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a really good question. We'll have to dig
That's
into
my
that.
guess. It's just they're trying to just get ahead of it and control the narrative.
That's possible.
But the next one we have, this is the article that
Kind of blows the top
a
off.
bunch
shit.
of people
Yeah.
have sent us.
Really?
But from IFL Science, this is from Ben Taub. 1.2 million year old obsidian axe factory found in Ethiopia.
What?
Okay, well,
Is
Ethiopia.
that even possible?
There's so
1.2 million years old.
Ethiopia
1.2 million years old.
as a culture is very ancient.
1.2 million years old.
Right. So
It's like Doc Brown and 1.21 gigawatts, and that's a made up number. This is a real number.
Yeah, and
1.2 million years old.
We've been covering a lot of these kind of things here recently, but forged in magma and capable of producing the sharpest blades on Earth, obsidian is without a doubt one of the most badass materials ever imagined. There's a reason George R.R. Martin made it the weapon of choice to kill White Walkers.
Doy.
The jet black volcanic glass is also extremely delicate and dangerous to work with, and is not mastered by humans until the latter part of the Stone Age, or so we thought. Now, this is pretty...
That's where they should have Scooby-Doo pulling the head off of whatever theory
Yep.
that's getting demasked every time.
Right.
Like, hey, we thought it was only to this time. Like, boo.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Oh,
Right.
we were wrong. Sorry. I'm
So-
sorry. I'm just frustrated.
Well, this is...
Sorry,
every
I'm
week.
not sorry. You know what sorry, I'm not sorry spells? Sins. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm sinning. If I'm sinning, I'm winning. Sorry, I'm just joking.
Reporting on the latest findings from the Melka Kunter archaeological site in Ethiopia. A team of researchers has described the discovery of an obsidian hand axe workshop
Yes.
within a layer of sediment dated back to 1.2 million years ago. This represents a staggeringly early example of an obsidian shaping, and according to the study's authors, is the only hand axe factory ever dated to the early Pleistocene.
Wow.
So this archaeological site
Put that
described
flag in
as,
the ground for him.
basically a napping
So,
workshop.
wait, hold on. Who the hell is making these? Monkeys?
People.
What people?
No, I mean
us? Like
early
people
hominids,
like us?
probably close to a
Hobbits?
Homo sapien.
Orang Pandek?
Probably more advanced than that, I would think. Well, orang pandek. Jesus, you caught me off guard with that one. Sorry. No, orang pandek probably would not be able to nap obsidian. Now, something more advanced than Lucy or
good.
like the Homo
Yeah,
floresiensis.
Okay.
So,
That's what I'm saying. How far
you know,
back on the branch are we swinging?
It's all mixed up. All this stuff's coming out, and it's like, oh, there were like 20 other hominids that were living with humans.
that's what I'm
like a
saying.
million years ago.
As
Huh?
a hominid, Homo sapien descend, I don't know
How
what.
many of them? There were probably a ton of different
If I was at a family
higher
reunion,
primate-ish and higher primates living
yeah,
together.
If I was at a family reunion with hominids
wouldn't-
and Homo erectus and all that shit, I'd be like,
If
what,
they-
where do we fit in the chain? Who are you related to?
We're at the
Like,
end of the line.
'cause I don't know.
Well, we're a mixture of probably all of them.
See Bilbo go running by you.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, I've been on
I
adventure.
mean, how far off are some of these fantasy type?
I don't know.
Where does it come from?
I don't.
You
That's what I'm
know,
saying.
the
I'm so
hobbits
confused
and-
anymore.
and the giants and there are probably so many various types of the elves. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Who the hell is making these axes? And are they us in some variation?
I think
Like, right,
they're
like
damn close to us, is what they're
That's
saying.
wild.
Because
That's why you guys are going to have
again,
to rewrite a lot of history.
first of all, to have a workshop, think about that. It's
Right, this
literally a
isn't
place
one.
of production. So
Right.
it's like an industrial operation,
Right.
which means organization.
Yeah,
So
it
you
does.
have people that are feeding each other, and there's some sort of community or civilization that needs the tools to have these sharp,
Hold-
like
hold-
I mean,
hold-
blade like.
Stop. Stop. How are they living there?
Jeez.
How are they staying there? This is before agriculture by.
Wow.
How are they? Where?
Who really know? I mean,
That's
they're
what I'm saying, though.
hunter-gatherers
As
for
we
sure.
look at the modalities of how we think hunter-gatherers, progressed on. So we're saying now, 1.2 million years ago, there was like basically an obsidian axe factory.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Who is? Is there a McDonald's around this corner? Are they just slaying like a giant brontosaurus? And I don't get like what are they
Well,
eating? Nothing.
The Pleistocene is
Plants.
is the
Giant
era.
carrots.
Um.
I'm
So
baffled.
okay. So here it's the second half of the Middle Pleistocene, and only in Europe so far, writes the researchers.
Right, but how are they living?
And these are predominantly located in France and the UK. Most notable Stone Age axe workshops were all associated with the creation of flint blades as well. So creating the axes to then create flint blades. So generally speaking, obsidian is extensively used only from the Middle Stone Age onwards, writes the study's author. However, during the course of their excavations, the team came across an ancient layer of sediment containing a cache of 578 stone tools, all but 3 of them, which were sculpted from obsidian. We show through statistical analysis that this was a focused activity. That was that very standardized hand axes were produced, and that this was a stone tool workshop, they write. Describing the axes, the researchers repeatedly marveled that the morphological standardization is remarkable, and while they don't know which species of human crafted the tools, they say that whoever created them diligently applied secondary retouches.
This is absurd.
And was highly focused on the final regularization of the artifacts.
So they're uniform, right? So they're
Right.
not one
So
looks
they're
this way and one looks that way.
regularized.
It's
God,
like
that's hard to say.
they're manufactured like an assembly line of craftsmanship.
Yeah, organized artisans.
Like really done well.
So, techniques for shaping the obsidian are believed to have first emerged during the Upper Paleolithic, and even modern knappers wear protective gloves to avoid shredding their hands when working with the razor-sharp material. And yet, when describing tools from over a million years ago, a study author that the standardized obsidian hand axes provide ample evidence of the repetitive use of fully mastered skills.
This is a wild article.
And that's, there's
they
a lot
said-
of these kind of stories that are flooding out there right now.
And they also say that working with obsidian takes more finesse than working with flint or basalt, which flint, we know flint was used all the time in flint knapping. To you're basically tapping it,
Arrow
right? You're
tips.
breaking one rock off and trying to
Spear
cleave off
points.
the other one to get that sharp edge as it breaks. That's all
Right.
you're doing is you're wrapping that rock, that flint, in a cloth, and you're napping it. You're just tapping it. It's going through the cloth and breaking it, but it's giving it a clean edge to it.
Yeah.
But made me
push.
start thinking, right? Like we live now, we'll have a genius like say when Einstein was around or Nikola Tesla when he was around, right? So what's to say back in these times that they didn't have their own hominid Tesla Einstein that was like somebody was like, hey, I know I'm a caveman or not supposed to be doing much more than just picking up berries off the ground, but somehow I figured out how to do this, and
Yeah.
no one else knows how to do this.
Right.
That had to have happened at other times, right? It's not just in our modern era that we have savants or people that just have skill sets like that, right?
Yep.
Even if it is just skill sets of working with, it's still amazing. Like I think that's one of the leaps that we're seeing now too, when we start to recognize that there are people that can just do very wild things, and we don't really fully understand at all how they do it mathematically or photographic memory, or they took a guy one time and flew him over this city. I think he was in Europe somewhere, and they flew him over it in a helicopter, and they got him back to this room, and it was like wall-to-wall paper, and he drew the whole city to
That's
detail.
wild.
It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. It was absolutely crazy. What's
Sorry,
up?
speaking of
Yeah.
drawing.
Oh, yeah. Good dovetail. Good dovetail. Good dovetail. We got to
thanks,
give a
Stoner.
shout out. Yeah. Thanks,
Stoner
Mikey.
put up the wide.
Yeah, thank you.
Bub, you were responsible for that.
Mikey
but
was reminding me because I forgot.
Totally
I was going to
failed.
say it by the end of the show. I didn't want to forget it. But, yeah, the painting that you see down in front over here with the kind of like shaman and kind of sunset, or I don't know if it's the moonrise in the background. Is it
Serpent
Aurora
Mound
Borealis? There's a
shaman
lot of colors
spirit
going on.
guide.
There's a temple in the background.
It's the Serpent Mound Spirit Guide.
And he's got the Serpent Mound kind of logo, if you will, or kind of representing the Serpent Mound logo,
Yeah, if you
albeit
zoom
straight
out
up and down
just a little
instead
bit.
of curved as it is naturally. This is from Carlos Roa
There it is.
of Fifth Element Tattoos. Carlos also does painting and artwork, and it kind of was his original start before getting into tattoos. And I was actually at the park one day by my house, and I was walking across to get some cheeseburgers at McDonald's because I was hungry. So I was walking back with these cheeseburgers, and I look up, and I'm like, hey, Carlos. And he's just walking through the park, barefoot, just kind of like taking in the day. It was a really nice afternoon. I was like, hey, why don't we go back to my house, and we can hang out on the upstairs balcony, and I'm just going to play guitar, and you can, do whatever. If you want to sit there and draw or hang out. We can talk. He's like, no, that's cool. You know, I got my pad and everything, so I'll just sketch and stuff. And so I was
That's
just
cool.
playing some music
Look at that
and playing just some freestyle on my
Look at that
acoustic.
pan.
And I know I got done, and Carlos showed me the sketch of
looks
this
awesome.
guy, and I instantly
Thanks,
was
Burton.
like, I don't know why it feels like I know that person or that entity.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was drawing something that, the way he kind of put it, was like being like transmuted from my guitar playing to
Channeling.
him. He was
Channeling.
like, yeah, he was like,
Kind
it was
of.
like surround sound. He was like, there were little kids playing, and there's cars going by, and there's people, you know, you can hear them
he
dribbling
killed it.
basketballs down the sidewalk and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's weird. Yeah, you get like a neighborhood surround sound in the summer, but it's really cool. There's a lot of life in the neighborhood I live in. But yeah, so I've been on Carlos to get this painting for a little while, and I know he's busy with his business and everything, so I haven't
it
heard
hooked
from him
up.
in about a year about it, so I hit him back up and was like, hey, do you still have that painting? Because I would really like to get that. And so
Now
this
it's down
is
at
my
Brozone.
late Christmas present to myself, and I really appreciate it, and I love it a lot, and just thrilled to have it hanging up and having the energy and the presence of it in the
Yeah.
studio.
And it's been hanging up kind of on the far wall over
Yep,
in the little theater
yep.
kind of viewing area.
See him every day.
But shout out to Roa. He crushed
shout
that.
out,
I'm so
Carlos.
happy for you that you now are the proud owner of this piece.
Yeah, and I mean, and from our studio set too. If you don't know, all of the artwork behind us, everything on the walls that's
Yes.
you know designed is Carlos as well. So we've got a pretty long history with him, and he just does not disappoint.
Yeah.
Just does stellar work every time. I'm going, man, that's fantastic. I love it. Really has a nice aesthetic.
Awesome.
Moving on from that, much love, Carlos. The NASA spacecraft
Oh,
discovers.
wait. Sorry. One more thing.
Go ahead, bro.
If you guys were in a little early and you heard the music playing,
Oh yeah,
shout out to
man, legend.
Legend.
Ledge.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
the music.
much. If you guys, when we roll out after Strange Happenings, Stone will roll that music up.
We've
And
got
you guys
some
can
new-
check out.
new
We got some
tunage.
new intro music. Formerly Bright Night Alaska. You guys are working out a new name
Yeah, but it's
or
funny
new
because
kind of brand.
we fried his interface making this song the first time, so we got like
Dude,
a quarter
the
of the
juice was there. Of
We
course,
got-
you fried. The
way. We got a
interface
quarter
on
of the
this
way
song. It's
done
a
with the
banger.
song. We went to work on it more,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he was like, "It's only coming out of the right speaker." I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "I think we just blew my interface." And I was like, "We didn't do
Dude,
anything."
It sounds so awesome.
He tried to put on an alien keyboard, and it just went all downhill from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, much appreciation to Matt for doing that.
God, we
legend.
forgot so much stuff. We had a plan, and
We got a whiteboard right there. We never draw on.
Appears that we're
You know what I'm going to draw on that
halfway
whiteboard next
failing
week?
tonight.
If you don't put notes up there,
Yeah,
just a big wiener.
you're the one looking at it. I don't care what you put up there.
Then I'm not drawing that. NASA spacecraft discovers a formation on Mars resembling a bear from January 29th, 2023 from Julia Hayward. Scientists found an unexpected discovery on the surface of Mars, a formation resembling the face of a bear. A camera on NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter snapped a photo of the formation on December 12th. The University of Arizona, which operates the camera, shared the image on Wednesday. Two beady eyes are formed by two craters. A hill with a V-shaped collapse structure resembles a snout. A circular fracture pattern outlines a head. The circular fracture pattern might be due to the settling of a deposit over a buried impact crater, the University of Arizona's Lunar and Planetary Laboratory says. Maybe the nose is a volcanic or mud vent, and the deposit could be lava or mud flows. Maybe just grin and bear it, the University of Arizona adds. Yeah, really good. It isn't the first time scientists have found photos from outside of the Earth with an eerie resemblance to entities on this planet. Humans have a knack for recognizing images or patterns where they don't exist, a phenomenon known as pareidolia. And in 1997, scientists discovered a large rock on Mars they named Pooh Bear. And in 1976, NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft spotted a mesa that resembled a human face nearly 2 miles from end to end
Now that one,
on a region of Mars called Cydonia.
yep, that's the one that your boy, what's his name, goes off about. Some of those guys.
Oh, the Cydonia region of Mars?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the face on Mars and the pyramids and what's your guy that you always go on and on about?
Cremo?
Yeah,
Cremo?
Cremo talks about a
You
lot.
gotta
of
love a
that
little Cremo.
Yeah.
Primo. Cremo's
some
Primo.
So yeah,
Michael Primo.
It's just a
God,
cool
that would be a
image.
great cage name. I could never imagine him fighting.
But brings up a crater again. We've been
Forget
talking a lot of
Cocaine Bear.
craters later.
It's the Space Bear. Dude, Cocaine Bear. I saw the preview for that movie. I never saw
Oh,
it. Do you remember when I
dude,
showed that to you?
yes.
Freaking Cocaine Bear was so funny. That's a real
Oh,
story
did you
too, which
see
is
it?
nuts.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like
Well,
that bear
it's-
actually ate like, I don't know, a pound of cocaine and
Right.
went on a rampage for like 16 minutes, and
Yeah.
for 16 minutes that they framed it as for like whatever it was for 16
Just
minutes
jacked.
that animal was the most deadly predator on the planet.
Oh, yeah, dude. Coke rage. Like,
I know. Even if you're a grizzly and you're in like mama bear rage, that doesn't match like
yeah.
an animal that gets exposed to like drugs of that form.
Yeah.
Like, geez,
Yeah.
just imagine. Woo!
This
No,
next
thank
one's
you.
this next one's a fun one.
It is.
Miley Cyrus. Okay, Miley Cyrus claims she was chased down by a UFO. This is Best Life, and since she became an adult, Miley Cyrus's career has been defined as pushing the boundaries of what people might have expected as her of the daughter of country singer Billy Ray Cyrus and the lead Disney Channel's Hannah Montana. Her fans already know
Hannah Montana.
that she doesn't really fit into any one box when it comes to what kind of performer and celebrity she is, and apparently even aliens from another planet have taken notice. Since the star claimed in 2020 interview that she was once chased down by some sort of UFO, read on to find out what Cyrus has said about her unexplained experience. So yeah, this is she basically does this interview with Rick Owens for Interview Magazine, and her public image was comparatively tame when the former child star opened up about her UFO encounter, and she had 6 solo albums under her belt and was making headlines for finding herself, in quotes, as Elle put it in 2019, rather than apologizing for cyberbullying Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato in 2008 for her insensitive comments about hip-hop music and culture. During their discussion, Owens and Miley talked about the new music she was recording, being creative, and during coronavirus and living on the road, which brought them to extraterrestrial life. The designer told a story about staying on a ranch area near Area 51 for his 57th birthday, which is when Cyrus asked him if he believes in aliens. She was driving through California when it happened. I don't really know. But it seems a little arrogant to assume there's nobody else but us, Owens responded to Cyrus' question about alien life, to which the singer replied, That's what I expletive think. She then went on into details about what she believed was her brush with something from another planet. I was driving through San Bernardino with my friend, and I got chased down by some sort of UFO, Cyrus says. I'm pretty sure about what I saw, but I'd also brought weed wax from a guy in a
Jesus
van in
Christ.
front of the taco shop. So it could have been the weed wax, but the best way to describe it's definitely
Sweet
the weed wax.
Wheatus.
Is
Wow.
a flying
weed
snow
wax.
plow. It had this big plow in front of it, and it was glowing yellow. I did see it flying, and my best friend saw it too. There was a couple of other cars on the road, and they also stopped to look, so I think what I saw was real.
This is crazy.
Higher than a giraffe's asshole. Just like, yep, saw a UFO. And she would go public with that in an interview. It was kind of funny. All right, moving on. That was a quick one.
That's wild. That's
You want to
really
take this
wild.
one? The Canadian Lynx, the Black Lynx
Yeah.
from Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah, for sure. I thought this one was cool because
really
this is
cool.
kind of the whole I wouldn't say what does Derek Hayes on Monsters Among Us call them? Like alien black cats, I think. It's ABC encounters, something like that. So this would kind of fit the bill. But headline from Coast to Coast from this article says black Canadian lynx captured on film for the first time ever. That's kind of cool. I love it, if we can substantiate it's the first time ever.
Kind of
that's
a
kinda nuts,
milestone.
but yeah. So they say
Really rare.
yeah, for the first time ever, a Canadian lynx. Oh, God.
The
Jesus.
dogs are going nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. Just chilling. Oh,
Oh,
boy.
baby.
Yeah. That's a guttural. Oh.
That sounds like my dog when the mailman shows up.
He's like, we got a predator.
Wow.
We got a predator.
Wow, that cat's pretty far away, and that's sizable.
Yeah.
Holy Moses.
Wow. Very cool.
I was like, what is I thought I was having an auditory hallucination when I first heard that. What's up, Bigfoot Society?
Hey,
Jeremiah?
Jeremiah, what's happening?
So yeah, there you have
hot
it on
diggity
there.
dang.
First time they've ever spotted a black Canadian lynx sporting that kind of coat. Captured on film, the remarkable creature was reportedly spotted roaming around a residential neighborhood in the town of Whitehorse in the Yukon Territory. No doubt realizing what they were seeing was incredibly rare, the witness managed to capture around 30 seconds of footage featuring the animal as it was around 150 feet away. In the video, a dog can be heard, which we heard furiously barking at it, while the seemingly unperturbed animal sits in some grass and the slowly ascends a set of concrete steps. Wildlife experts confirmed the creature is a Canadian lynx with melanism, which is a genetic condition that causes an animal to possess an increased amount of black pigmentation in its fur, feathers, or skin. First time they've ever documented the phenomenon in this particular species of lynx. Usually have a fur that is reddish brown in the warmer months and then turns silver as temperatures drop. So they say melanism can sometimes be to an animal's benefit depending on their habitat and living conditions. Experts suggest in this instance being entirely black almost certainly works against the animal's best interest when trying to stay camouflaged in the snowy Yukon Territory's winter months. So being a black cat in the winter does not help you hunt.
Nope.
Man, it's wild. So, maybe that happens more often, but maybe those animals don't survive because if they are solitary creatures or they get rejected for whatever reason, it's like trying to go out and hunt and like every animal's like, we see you, Jeff. We already see, like, just maybe they become vegetarians.
And Black Panthers, that was a myth in the 90s. That was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It was considered kind of a cryptid. But now, I mean, they're seeing black Florida Panthers quite a bit. Like, there's sightings all the time.
Maybe they're
when
evolving.
we were kids, Black Panthers, I was like, no, there's no way that's possible. There's not Black Panthers in America. But, here we go. Got a black
Looks
lynx.
like a wolf. I don't know. It looks like look at those big ass ears on the front of it.
That thing's cool.
Jeez, and got those telescoping ears. So I think I heard a lynx one time or a bobcat when I was in Tennessee. And it was like, the whole saying, if you ever hear what sounds like a deranged woman in the night, it's a puma. Mm-hmm. Like it's like yawing and doing whatever
dude, they make
sounds
the
they
most
make.
ridiculous
Cats
noises.
in general,
Yeah.
coyotes and foxes. Not coyotes,
Remember
but
camping
foxes.
in Indiana, we heard that bobcat or something.
We heard something
Sounded
slap something. You know what if that was Bigfoot?
It could have been. I mean, southern Indiana is
Never thought about that because I remember
very,
we heard
very
something that
forced.
sounded like something akin to like, when you hit a
God,
pillow
it
or a
was a
cushion on
Bigfoot.
the couch with like a baseball bat or something like that thud, but there's no real thud. But there's kind of little concussive force to it, right?
What's the state park that's close to that area? I always forget.
Whitewater.
Whitewater,
State
but then the
Houston
place where-
Woods.
Houston
Houston
Woods.
Woods
Yeah.
is near there. So southern Indiana, right? Mm-hmm. Well, not southern Indiana, but like eastern.
Jeremiah,
Indiana.
any Bigfoot societies? Any of you, Burton? Any of you guys know anything about
Any Bigfoot sightings near Houston Woods?
southern Indiana?
Because it gets pretty.
It's pretty squatchy
wild out there.
Yeah, it's pretty squatchy. We used to do a lot of
a lot of camping out there.
and
A lot of campfires and guitars and fireworks and
it was a cool waterfall
almost
out there. We
trips
used
to the
hike
hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, a few trips to the hospital. Close encounters. Luckily,
best part was the
Bud's
last-
a nurse.
Yeah. Right, well, not
Or
anymore.
at that point, you were
At
a
that
nurse.
point was, but I was off the job on that time. But the
Right.
best part was the fact that we were trying to not bring fireworks that could hurt anyone.
Oh, that's the exact.
But when
opposite
you
of what we
hold
did.
an entire handful
Yep.
of sparklers and light them as one sparkler, just food for thought here. Don't ever do it.
Don't do that.
You grasp an entire clutch of
More
sparklers and light
sparklers
them at
don't
once.
always equal more fun,
It
man.
takes off like a fuse
Oh yeah, it just
and burns
rips.
like instantly.
Yep.
Like it doesn't trickle down; it just goes. So our friend's hand looked like Joe Pesci's from Home Alone after he grabs the inflamed doorknob.
McAllister.
I mean, it was like he looked like he had Harry Potter strike lightning bolts inscribed on his hand. I was like,
That's
nope.
no good.
I feel bad for you. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, Damn. Get a stick of butter and hold on.
Oh, a stick
Like,
of butter.
that's what I'd be
God.
doing. I'd be basting that thing.
Oh man.
Jesus, that would hurt.
Well,
Anywho.
we got one more, guys.
I love this one.
One more. San Diego Zoo announces birth of critically endangered. Bub, you want to say this?
Przewalski,
Okay, Przewalski horse cloned using 42-year-old DNA.
right?
Man.
Pretty wild.
California Zoo has announced the birth of a foal from a critically endangered breed using a cloning technique to create the horse with DNA preserved for 43 years. The Przewalski horse foal, part of a breeding program intended to increase the species' genetic diversity, was the firstborn at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park since 2014. She is the clone of a male Przewalski stallion, which was created from DNA that was frozen 43 years ago in the San Diego Zoo. Wow. I mean, that's wild. There's related to 12 born in native habitats. Wow. So these things are highly, so their native area is, I was scrolling down here, the horse, also known as that's what it is, the Mongolian wild horse. Now, don't they have these out at the wilds?
They might.
I think they do. They have a
might.
whole herd of these. I'm almost positive, and man, they get spooked. They're a legit wild horse. They are super, super hard to tame. And the people that could tame these, like even the indigenous folks and the people that lived around there, like, they can't even tame these. They're
they look
just
like
for
donkeys.
years and years and years.
They look like donkeys, right?
They've never been.
Don't they? They look a bit like a
They
donkey.
do.
And so if you ever see a donkey and you see one up close, you'll put a donkey out in the field with your cattle or sheep or chickens or whatever, because if a coyote or a wolf or whatever comes in there, they'll kill them.
Oh yeah, they'll go nuts.
They'll kill a coyote.
Oh yeah.
You don't mess with
buck 'em.
donkeys.
Yep.
They will kill them. They're vicious and they're smart. They're very loyal animals too if they like you.
So yeah, if anybody's ever heard about the wilds out in southern Ohio,
I went ziplining there.
it's a really cool place. They have yurts out there up on the hills.
Yeah.
You can rent these cool yurts, and then it looks out over herds of like wild horses,
Right.
and there's a rhino, bunch of rhinos out there, giraffes.
I think the cool part about the
cats.
wilds is the fact that they, when we went there, they were like, we're not guaranteeing you to see any animals.
Yeah.
This isn't a zoo. So like if you see an animal, cool. But if you don't see an animal, that's just part of it too. And like we did, they have a zip line set up over the enclosures. It's wild.
Oh yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my wife did it.
It's great. I took my wife.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you rappel down off these big structures. Like,
Yep.
never done that before.
Yep.
And just like, all right, I guess I'm jumping off this platform.
It's
this
fun.
is happening.
Yeah. It's cool.
And you're ziplining over. I mean,
The
we went when it
enclosures.
was kind of cold. I mean,
Yeah.
it was in May, but May in Ohio gets a snap like that, and all of a sudden it's snowing.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those kind of crappy weather days, and we just went anyways. Like,
Yeah.
screw it. But it was like super windy out there.
Yeah, it gets cold out there. They do like Jeep tours too, don't they?
Yeah.
You can take like a ride through the park.
Yep. I was a camera operator on the Secrets of the Zoo. We went out to the wild. Stoner's been out there on shoots too.
Oh, nice.
But we got to shoot the rhinos. And I was just, operating, just the camera guy that day.
Yeah.
And we were kind of getting ready to go on to the next. And one of the veterinarians was like, hey, you want to pet the rhino behind the ears?
Sweet Jesus.
I'm like, yes.
That's
and I
cool.
look at the producer. He's like, dude, go ahead. So I put the camera down, walked over to this giant female. And behind their ears, kind of like your dog, but like, imagine lamb's ear, the herb that people have in their gardens, like twice as soft as that.
Just
Their
super
whole
soft.
body is covered in this
Except
armor,
for those, but except for
right
the joints.
behind the ears.
Yeah.
And it's soft as I was like,
Like
this
butter.
is weird. She's like, pretty great, right? I was like, I can't believe I just like
That's wild,
pet
dude.
this rhino's ear. So that was one of the highlights of that whole shoot.
What is this?
Also, a scary part was they had a big cougar. What's that?
What is that?
Burton.
Cryptid hunt, the not deer. What is
Oh,
that?
what's
What is
that?
that, Stone?
Okay.
Looks like a wolf that reminds me.
I'm intrigued by the not deer phenomenon in the Appalachian area. If we're talking about interesting animals, okay. Can you
blow
read
that
that,
up?
bub?
No, can you blow that up, Kyle?
Or toss the link in Mattermost.
Yeah, do that. You
pull
can
it
do
up.
that too. Throw it in Mattermost, and I'll look at it.
But yeah, wild horses getting cloned. So, dude, these are those animals from the wilds. They're super cool. But you can't drive that Jeep more than 20 feet away, and they will just bolt. They just take off. They do not like people
That's good.
at all.
Good.
And they're living around people. They're so hard to work on. The vets are like, these horses are a pain in my ass because they're just so
Gotta, like,
wild.
Dart them from far off.
Yeah, well, dude, they jumped on the back of this Jeep, and I'm on the back of this thing with the vet.
Yeah.
And it's, you're holding on to these, like, rails, and I'm just holding on, got shoulder rigged, and they are flying out to dart these females.
What?
And then they separate the baby and dart that and take.
Jesus.
They had to,
Like Jurassic Park.
they had to do it. Take the baby in to be looked at.
Yeah.
So they had to separate with the Jeeps, and I'm on the
Wow.
back, just like flying
Chipping
through.
teeth.
And
Looking like a Pez dispenser.
they were coming in almost like like velociraptors would when they're
Jesus.
hunting prey, and they got the baby, took them, boom, 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 did the procedure in like 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes.
Why don't they just like
And
train
boom.
cattle dogs?
Got that
To go out
They
there
do
and-
have dogs too.
I would be
They
having
do
those
have
things go
dogs.
out there and peel them off and be like, I'm
Well,
not
these are-
driving a Jeep over the wild terrain.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting a drone. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting a drone with a little dart gun on it.
Right.
And fly it above them, have a little targeter on it. Just
But dude, I
seriously,
remember
because they
just
use drones to plant trees.
holding on
right?
for dear life.
Yeah,
I was concerned.
I bet.
They were flying. I'm like, bro, we're not even on a road. We're in the grass flying down this hill.
You
Did
know,
that
I've
make
done-
it into the thread, Kyle? Okay, cool.
I've done it a couple of times. What you're talking about, of
So
riding
let's
kind of
let's
untethered. and
cryptid hunt, not the not deer. Okay.
what is this?
Wow, it's kind of like a hybrid of a cat or a wolf and a deer.
So that's
Have you ever driven down a back road at night? There's something distinctly creepy about the way a beam from your headlights illuminates only what is directed in front of you, while on either side you are enveloped in darkness. What could be lurking out there, just out of sight? In rural Pennsylvania, native like myself, then there's a good chance you've seen your fair share of deer while you're out on one of them drives. You felt the adrenaline rush as one leaped in front of your car, forcing you to slam on the brakes. Let's see here. But what if, as you're trying to get a hold of yourself from a near accident, you take a closer look at the creature standing in front of your car and notice there's something off about it?
okay.
Its eyes and mouth aren't quite right, and it's abnormally twitchy, almost like a puppet on strings, and it doesn't seem frightened of you. Deers they get spooked so easy. They're gone.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, if this is the case, you may have just encountered a not deer. Burton, bro, we need to chat a little bit more about this not deer. I don't want to go too deep into this article, but
I read it.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a rational
Well,
explanation.
the Appalachian Mountains, dude, are so old and ancient, and there's so many legends, and I mean, the amount of paranormal activity that happens in the Appalachian Mountains is just insurmountable. I mean, look how many podcasts and paranormal shows there are just out of that region
Yeah.
alone. I mean, it's just steeped.
But like these deer, from what the article goes on to say, is they're not menacing, they're not intimidating. They
just
kind of like when
are
they're
weird.
encountered, they just like sit there. But the explanation is chronic wasting disease, like a
Okay.
neurological condition. For the way that they think of like a rabid raccoon that comes up to your house, and
Just
you're like,
like all
this thing is
sucked
just
up in the
walking
face.
right up to me.
Yeah.
But it's doing abnormal behavior, one, because it's being, what do you say?
Chronic
That's true of a lot.
wasting.
Old magic.
That's
well,
what,
and I'm not trying to say that there's not weird deer
Necromechanical.
out there. There could be not deer out there as well. I'm just
Yep.
saying there's a good explanation for certain instances of it. So it's just to make sure everybody's
Old
not like,
magic.
I saw a not deer. It's
Yeah.
there is this chronic wasting disease, or saying again like other animals, you get rabies and they act very peculiarly. Peculiarly, gotta hate that word.
We're struggling with words today.
There's that word again.
Man, I'm gonna have to look into this more.
Yeah, I
chronic
appreciate it
wasting
being put on
disease.
the radar.
Old magic in the Appalachian Mountains. It's a lot going on.
Old magic.
And
That
we're
makes
just
me
in
think
the
of,
arc of the Appalachia in Ohio. Like we're not really. I mean, we're part of the Appalachian Range, but Ohio's kind of like the outskirts of the true Appalachian Mountains.
Oh,
West Virginia, Kentucky.
yeah, where we're at is flat
that's
as
the
all
arc.
get out.
Southern Ohio is the arc of Appalachia,
We are in flat land, extremely flat land.
except in the south.
In the
East.
south, right. Well, I'm
Southeast.
saying where we are in general is extremely flat. But yeah.
There we go. Not
hey,
here.
What other shout outs do you have? Do you have any?
I think we covered everything. We
Stone?
remembered the ones
Did
we
we
forgot.
shout out Stone?
We did not shout out Stone.
Our wizard?
Stoner
Our
actually
technological wizard?
crushed it today and installed a new audio system.
Right.
We've been trying to get our audio dialed in, guys, and
Trying to
I don't-
ensure the
yeah,
capabilities.
we were on a little bit older system from when we started down at Little Bro Zone
Yep.
in 2020 when we started the show, and we're just kind of like very basic back then. The Zoom L8 mixer served us for many shows, many
Yeah.
episodes,
Yeah, but you
even
gotta
these current
upgrade.
ones.
time to time.
So we got the Behringer mixer and some little upgrades in there that I think are. So Kyle set all that up today, for
Right.
us,
Knocked
and,
it out.
and is sounding great. So
I think
thank
it was
you,
I think
Stoner.
it was the chicken salad from the Walrus.
The chicken salad. We got Walrus. Shout
Walrus
out to
was so
Walrus.
good
We had
today.
lunch there today.
Love the Walrus.
Getting hungry again, thinking about it.
Short
Could eat there
rib.
again.
Hey, we still have sandwiches in the fridge.
Oh God, that's right.
We got leftovers. That's
Yes.
why you
All right, we
always
gotta
get
wrap
the-
this up.
That's why you always get the sliders.
We got to wrap this
Get
episode
the
up and eat
sliders.
the sliders.
Burton, appreciate
Yes,
that.
Burton, thank you. Hit like on the video, subscribe. Most of you guys are probably already subscribed, but like that video. Rate us on.
Show us a video of you getting somebody on board with the Strange Road. Let's see you bring them over to the Strange. We can't say Strange Cult. That's Hollow Sky. I'm not going to steal their branding. But how do we get more hitchhikers on this bus that we're trying to take Ken Kesey style
Well,
across
there's-
the USA?
I've got a few people right now that we're chatting with in Instagram, Facebook.
We have a
that
lot
have
more guest interviews coming up
experiences.
too.
Yes.
Right?
So
We have guest interviews
very
coming,
good point.
coming.
Very good point.
And not just out on Spotify and on the podcast side. We're talking here on YouTube side. We have
Thursday.
a lot. Yeah, Thursday we're
Thursday,
coming up with a new one too.
We have VJ back.
Yep.
This will be our third episode with VJ. VJ used to live in Ohio.
He's coming in virtually.
A psychologist, worked in Cincinnati, got
Yeah.
obsessed with earthworks and Serpent Mound and ancient culture in Ohio and the connections between India and Ohio and his language of Tamil.
Hell yeah.
And all of these Hopi
Can't
words
wait.
and Cherokee words. And so he's gone down those two episodes. If you haven't seen them and you guys want to watch those and listen to those, VJ's going to be, we're bringing him in virtually. It would be amazing to have him in the studio, but unfortunately he's on his spiritual quest in India, going to all these different temples.
He's on a journey.
He's
For sure.
Hanging out with different
He's out there
yogi
getting after it.
masters, learning different types of
Yeah.
yoga, learning different meditations, and like I
Yeah.
said, getting into back country of India with his
Digging
family.
deep.
And I
Digging
think
deep.
right now he's kind of in a spot where he can hop in virtually. He's in a spot, and so Thursday. Streaming with VJ. It's going to be pretty late because
He's
where
gonna be
he's
in
at,
India.
it's going to be 7:30 a.m.
Right.
So he'll be 7:30 a.m. India time in southern India, and
What is it?
we're
doing
thinking
here?
it's
8:30?
8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m.
Eastern. So keep an eye on that.
Yep, we'll have a lot of promo stuff coming out on Twitter and Instagram. I'm sure for that. Just putting the date out, reminding people to, remember to hit the notification button if you want to know when we're going live. You gotta also follow us and do things like that. It's one of those, we don't hear it as much anymore because I think people are kind of getting hip to it. But yeah, just hit the notification bell, like, subscribe. If you're going to leave us a rating, please leave us a 5-star. If we didn't do a
On Apple
5-star
and
worth,
Spotify.
if we didn't earn 5 stars, we don't want anything else. So unless we earned 5 stars, thank you very much for it. If not, we'll work for it to get it the next time. And then you can follow us on Instagram at The Strange Road. You can follow Mikey on Instagram at Mikey Leisner. You can follow Stoner at Kyle Stonard. I'm on Instagram as well. I'm also on Twitter most of the time as The Strange Road, but on Instagram, I'm Bub_Ranley. What else we got to say? I think that's
Yeah,
it.
just listen and keep listening.
Rip it and rip it.
Keep sharing, and we will see all of you guys on Thursday.
Yeah.
If you guys want to come hang out, say
Come
what's
check
up
it
in the
out.
chat again.
Yeah.
We appreciate all you guys
Thank you very much.
spending the evening with us.
Roa,
And
thank you for the painting.
Yes, Roa, thank you for the painting. Matt,
Love
thank
it.
you for the music.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's sign off. Roll that tune, Kyle. Yeah, dude. Yes.